It's the third round of the Texas high school football playoffs, and it's Thanksgiving? Could this week be any better? These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and happy Thanksgiving. Around here, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, we celebrate this as the greatest holiday of the year because it is. Every other holiday comes second to Thanksgiving. This is the best day of the year. You're wrong if you think otherwise. And one of the reasons it's the best day of the year is because we get to feast on football for an entire weekend, including 88 win or go home UIL Texas high school football playoff games. I'm picking every single one of them. They're either scrolling over here or I'm going to mention it out loud. There's big games everywhere with massive implications. It's do or die. We start in Longview. 6 o'clock Friday night at Globo Stadium in Longview. It is number 1 versus number 2 in a 4A Division II regional semifinal between the Carthage Bulldogs and the Gilmer Buckeyes. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, Gilmer's ground game. I think when you think about Gilmer, you think about passing attacks, right? Because they've had a ton of outstanding quarterbacks in their history. Poppy Brown, Stump Godfrey, G.J. Kinney, of course Brandon Tennyson last year. But this is a team that runs the ball especially effectively and does it a lot, more than they've ever done it under head coach Alan Metzel. They are running the ball nearly 70% of their offensive snaps this year, and part of it is their offensive line's good, and they've got 2 great running backs back there in Ashton Haynes and Will Henderson. This running game has been terrific. It was great last week against Gainesville. There's also a question about their quarterback availability. Caden Tennyson, their starter, did not play last week. We do not know the status this week. It sounds like he's a bit of a day-to-day situation, so the ground game is going to be even more important, especially up against this Carthage defense that is very stout, especially up front, led by linebacker Deontay Mary. That is going to be a real matchup here. Can Gilmer run the ball like they have all year, or will Carthage be able to slow them down? Key number 2, Carthage's grown-up offense. So last year, when Carthage bowed out in the regional semifinals of the playoffs, one of the reasons that they didn't make it back to defend their state championship was because their offense just couldn't really get out of first gear. They only averaged about 36 points per game. Now that's pretty good, but by Carthage standards, that's not going to cut it, especially considering it's the first time since 2016 they didn't average more than 40 points per game. Well, now they are certainly making up for that because they're averaging nearly 51 points a game, and quarterback Connor Cuff is incredible. This kid has been all over the place, got a pair of great receivers on the outside in Montrell Hatton and Noah Patty that are going to test this Gilmer defense. Now, the Gilmer defense has been excellent all year long, and especially in their front, led by nose guard Braylon Ward. I think they're going to need to get pressure on Cuff if they're going to win this game. So, can this grown-up Carthage offense show the strides that they've made this year? And key number 3, seeing red. So these are 2 teams that are very familiar with one another, right? This is the 8th meeting in the last 7 seasons between these 2 teams. They make it a habit to play each other in non-district play. They are 2 coaching staffs that I know each other extremely well, and 2 programs that know each other extremely well. Carthage has won the last 7 meetings, 7-0 against Gilmer, including twice in 2020 when they beat them in non-district, and they went to AT&T Stadium. Gilmer went up 14-0 in the state championship game, and then Carthage rattled off 70 straight and won 70-14. These are 2 teams that know each other, and Gilmer has something to prove, plain and simple. I don't think there's any doubt about it. That Carthage has owned this series. They have owned the games against Gilmer. Now, Gilmer's been close a couple of times, but they haven't been able to get over the hump. This is a really impressive Gilmer team. They've got a lot going for them. I think their defense has made big strides. But this is the final boss for them. In many respects, as number 1 versus number 2, this could be a state championship game. So, can Gilmer finally get over the Carthage hump? Who am I picking? I'm going with Carthage. I think you have to go with the Bulldogs in a situation like this, even though I have a lot of respect for what Gilmer's been able to put together. Their questions at the quarterback spot are a little interesting. If Caden Tennyson's unable to go last week against Gainesville, they put star wide receiver Rowan Flewellen back there, and he really led that attack kind of out of the Wildcat offense. Still were able to run the ball. I don't think they're dead in the water if Tennyson doesn't play, but they've got a tough road to hoe against what has been a very good Carthage defense, especially in that front seven. I think that Gilmer's running attack is going to be able to keep this thing close, but I think that the offense for Carthage is too explosive. I think they come up with a couple of big plays. I think this game is close. I think it's going to be a lot of fun on Valley Sports Southwest, but I think that Carthage comes away with a win. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon at the field in Pflugerville. It is a 6A Division I regional semifinal between the Duncanville Panthers and the Woodlands Highlanders. And this is a real strength-on-strength matchup here. You know, Duncanville has been mowing through people with their outstanding defense, led by defensive end Colin Simmons. And, of course, they're running the ball very well with Caden Durham of late. Now they're taking on a Woodlands team that has just been unconscious offensively lately, averaging more than 63 points per game. Mabry Mattower and Quanell Farrakhan, the pass-catch combo, my goodness, this offense has been crazy good of late. And that's going to be a big challenge for this Duncanville defense, which I don't know if they've seen an offense that's hitting on all cylinders like this one has, at least since they played DeSoto a few weeks ago. That said, I do think that the running game and the strength in the trenches for Duncanville is going to be the difference. I think the Panthers come away with a win. 1 o'clock Friday afternoon at Del Mar Stadium in Houston. It's a 5A Division II regional semifinal between the Fort Bend Marshall Buffaloes and the Montgomery Lake Creek Lions. Still unbeaten, still rolling, still doing whatever they want offensively. My goodness, Ty Byers and this Lions attack has been one of the very best in the state. Don't believe me? They are third in the state, any level, at scoring offense. Absolutely outstanding. But now, talk about strength on strength, this Fort Bend Marshall defense has been spectacular all year long, led by Jordan Sample. They are the 6th best scoring defense in all of Texas high school football. This is Clash of Titans stuff right here. The difference for me is going to be when Marshall has the ball, because that's where I think that Jordan Davis, the dual threat quarterback, is going to make a couple of big plays. I think he's the difference in this ball game. It has a chance to be a shootout. I think Marshall would prefer it wasn't, but I do think that the Buffaloes get the win. 2 o'clock Friday at Lions Stadium in Vernon. It's a 3A Division I regional semifinal between the Bushland Falcons and the Brock Eagles. And two teams that are coming at this from kind of different resume perspectives. For Bushland, they had that one loss on the year back to Shallow-Water a few weeks ago, but they have been rolling aside from that, and especially last week, that gutty win over Jim Ned, I was awfully impressed with. Their defense played fantastic, and quarterback Dawson Jaco continues to make big plays. Now going up against Brock, the preseason favorite in 3A Division I. Of course, they started the year 0-4. They've now rattled off 8 straight wins. Brett Tutter, their running back, is really starting to hum. Their defense has been very strong, especially in the middle with that linebacker core. So, look, I think this is a coin flip type game. I think the winner of this game is the favorite to win Region 1. I'm going to go with Bushland. Give me the Falcons. 5 o'clock Friday at the beautiful Concho Valley at San Angelo Stadium. It is a 2A Division II regional semifinal between the Wink Wildcats and the Albany Lions. We talk a lot about Wink's quarterback, Cannon Gibson, the dual threat, do-it-all superstar who's been fantastic for them. But let's focus a little bit on the defense, which has been outstanding all year long in its own right, allowing just 13 points per game. Their defense is going to need to be as good as it's ever been this week against a hard-charging rushing attack for Albany, led by Coy Lefevre and Adam Hill. If Albany's not able to run the ball, I'm not sure I love what their plan B is. So that it really comes down to this. But in the end, I think that the offensive line for Albany, which has been so good all year long, and their defense are the difference makers. I think the Lions come away with a narrow win. It's the regional finals in 6-man football. Let's go to 1A Division I, 6 o'clock Friday night in Hico. It is the Abbott Panthers taking on the Gordon Longhorns in a matchup of unbeatens. These are two teams that have been absolutely dominant. Case in point, before last week, these were the only two teams in all of 6-man football that had won every one of their games by the 45-point mercy rule. Yeah, they've been dominant. Now, last week, Gordon did have to storm back to beat Blum, but it was a gutty, gritty win for the Longhorns, and they are poised for a deep run, led by freshman Riley Reed, a name to know for the future. Abbott has had to pivot a little bit. They did have star running back Riley Sistala, who is now out. They have turned instead to Mason Hell, and everything has been fantastic still for this Abbott team. What happens in this matchup? I actually think this is going to be a relatively low-scoring slugfest, but I give the slight edge to Abbott. But those are far from the only big games in the regional semifinals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Remember, if I don't mention your game out loud, it's scrolling on the side of the screen. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I like Prosper over North Crowley. Give me Galena Park North Shore over Katy Cinco Ranch. And I like Lake Travis to keep rolling with a win over San Antonio Brown. 6A Division II now, I like South Lake Carroll over McKinney, and Killeen Harker Heights gets by Spring to Caney. 21 6A Magic continues. C.E. King takes down Fort Bend Hightower, and I like Dripping Springs over Harlingen. 5A Division I, I like Burleson Centennial over Abilene. In a matchup of unbeatens, I like Mansfield Timberview over Frisco Reedy. College Station squeaks by Georgetown in a rematch, and I like Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial to beat McAllen. To 5A Division II we go. I like Melissa over Terrell. Liberty Hill just barely over Alamo Heights, and I'm going with Abilene Wiley over Canutillo. To 4A Division I we go. I like Decatur over Canyon Randall, and give me Kilgore over Lindale. China Spring beats Lake Worth, and what a story Port Lavaca Calhoun has been. Started 0-7, won 5 straight. I think Bernie gets him this week. 4A Division II now, I like Monahans over Godley. Wimberley beats Gerald in a district rematch, and I like Silsby over Madisonville. We're getting to the good stuff in 3A Division I. I like Grandview over Pottsboro. Give me Columbus to take down Cameron Yo, and Edna beats Blanco. To 3A Division II we go. Canadian takes down Upstart Spearman. In a battle of unbeatens, I like Gunner over Palmer. Tidehaven takes down Wallace Brazos, and I'm going with West Rusk over Harmony. 2A Division I now, hashtag Snake Farm. I like Toller over Hamilton, and give me Hawley to beat Sonora. Timpson wins a wild one with Centerville, and Refugio beats district rival Ganado. 2A Division II we go. I like Newhome to keep it rolling with a win over Clarendon. Granger gets by Falls City, and Mart beats Sims Bowie. And it's the regional finals in 6-man football. In 1A Division I like Westbrook over Rankin. In 1A Division II, I'm going with Benjamin over Throckmorton, and Cherokee gets by Lorraine. And those are the picks. I picked all 88 UIL Texas High School football playoff games this week. I either mentioned it out loud or it was scrolling on the side of your screen, so you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2022 Texas High School football playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the regional semifinals of the Texas High School football playoffs. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you.